Identity is the toughest battle you can ever fight, to preserve your identity.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
So what we find here in the West is that we find the Muslims are almost stuck in between a rock and a hard place. I would say, generally speaking, actually towards Islam, it's become more intolerant. I remember, because I'm born and raised here, and I remember like before it, they would be more open to your identity and your practices. So it's like you kind of find yourself in this between this rock and this hard place. Is that these conservatives, they may actually share more of your values, but then they're antagonistic towards you. Then you have these people who have these open arms, and they bring you in. Oh, come to us, but hey, you got to leave your, your identity, your soul at the door, but you can look whatever you want on the outside and come in. So this is what we find the community here between this rock and a hard place. Do you see this similar issue happening in Australia? And if so, how do we, from a leadership perspective now, because as leaders, we want to come up with maybe some strategic thinking. How do we navigate through this?
Identity is the toughest battle you can ever fight, to preserve your identity, and that is where I think the whole argument is about. What you're saying is, as a Muslim, I have my identity, and if I have my identity, and what I mean with identity, which includes your values, your morals, your ethics, your view on life, your aqidah, your understanding, it's all part of who you are, your identity. So it is a problem of, first, many Muslims, they haven't sought out their own issues when it comes to their own identity and what they stand for. And what you see today from people who are actually melting to becoming civil libertarian, and their identity, it's undistinguishable from the person, the civil libertarian, who actually could carry some moral values which is in contradiction with Islam. And then we find a way so we can meet that, even if it means compromising your deen. This is because you haven't sorted out your own identity. You don't know who you are yet. If you know who you are and you have your identity, there is no problem working with a civil libertarian on certain issues. Like I always advocated, even, for example, you belong to a certain Islamic school, certain madhab, certain way of view. It does not mean I cannot work with somebody who I don't agree with on everything, because we're working for a bigger picture. And the same standard you can apply for working with civil libertarians. I agree with you on these things, so let's work on these things. But this step only comes after you work out what is what the ulama call thawabit wa mutaghayyirat. You gotta know your thawabit first. If your thawabit are not thawabit, then you do have a problem. If your constants are not constants and they are movable and expandable, then that's problem goes back to the first step, that you, the person, don't know who you are, literally, and you are with the hype. Civil libertarian comes, we join them. Yeah, okay, but you can. Islam allows you certain space, and that is go back to tarbiyah. And I think there is where the issue is here. You get many academics, or let's just say brothers and sisters who attend, for example, university study, but they have not been throughout their life exposed to Islamic teachings that cements their identity. And then once they go to the world, they also start to adopt the deen more, because now they're over that stage of the stage of teenagers. They start become adopt the deen. But what are they adopting? Is it the Islam that validated by the scholars, or just they pick up bit here, bit there, bit here, bit there, and they form their own identity and they work along and they work accordingly? So it is, first we need to work out our identity, work out what we want to do, and then, according to your strategy and your plan, you cooperate. You do not cooperate if that cooperation not going to you to be in the benefit of your what you're doing. It does not mean you oppose it. You just stay neutral. Say, okay, why do I need to join? What I need is to create my own space that is according to my values, and use the means that are available to me, and use all. And there are many means, whether it is working with this group or working with that group, or make for example, a statement against that group. Then it becomes part of that is spawned from your identity and from the space you create. It's not mandatory on you to join a certain space. You make your own space, and then you move forward.
So for the Australian,
this takes a lot of work. It's not easy.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.